Here's a game, Phage. Let's start with e4. And get a Sicilian. Goes with an e6 Sicilian. Could be Taimanov or Khan variation. Or it could be just another way to get to the Scheveningen. Not committing just yet. So the Taimanov is knight to knight to c6, and the Khan is pawn to a6. So knight to f6 attacks here. He might be trying to transpose into a Sveshnikov. I think that can happen. Oh no, he's just going for the Scheveningen setup. So I can play the Keres attack here, can't I? If you can play the Keres attack, you probably should. And the pawn on e6 blocks the bishop, which would normally be prepared to take that pawn on g4. So it's not, sometimes you play g4 just to sacrifice the g-pawn and get an open file against the king side, but this is not one of those cases. This is just, you're giving up security for your own king, but on the other hand, you're probably going to castle queen side, and you're going to push black's pieces around on the king side. Now, I always forget the exact lines because this doesn't show up very often. People, have taken to avoiding the Scheveningen because of the Keres attack, largely. Let's see, what could he try? He could play e5, kicking my knight, and my knight could go to, that kicks my knight and also threatens the g-pawn, but my knight could go to f5, so e5, knight f5, then he could play g6. But no, I can't take there. I wonder, maybe there's a way for him to win a pawn with e5. Yeah, he's going for it. So what to do? Knight to f5 seemed like the natural response. He plays g6. The knight can't go forward because the bishop is controlling all these squares. It can't take on d6. Could come back to g6 probably. And then he could take. If it comes back to e6, then it defends the pawn again. So, I mean e3. Comes back to e3 and defending the pawn on g4. I guess that's the way to do it. Otherwise, I mean, it's not just that he's winning that g-pawn, which is maybe something you're willing to sacrifice, but he's also, getting that bishop out, attacking the queen. So probably I need to hold on to that pawn for a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. I didn't go that way. Okay, so what to do? Let's get my bishop out. I'm preparing to castle queenside. I could take and play knight to take his knight and then play my knight to d5. Take his knight off, first of all, because then he can't challenge this knight, and secondly, because the e-pawn is left undefended. But so you give up the bishop pair, but you get a really strong knight in the center of the board. And he can still try this. He just takes. I was going to say, he could still try playing g6 to kick my knight, but he just takes. So I want to take here, I think. So now I've got an open g file without having sacrificed a pawn. And do I want to play rook g1 immediately, or do I want to lift my queen and castle? He's also developing the bishop, but he's got knight to d4. Might be interesting move for him. So say I play queen d2, knight d4. He's actually threatening to come into f3 and fork the king and queen. Let's see, if I castle then, I can still play knight f3, but then I can move my queen. But maybe there's better squares for the queen. How about if I play queen to g4? Just starting to put pressure on the g file and preparing to castle queenside. Okay, so we can't really take that pawn. Let's go ahead and castle now. And now I can take the pawn. So let's think. I can push I can push my f-pawn forward. I can renew the pin on the g-pawn by playing rook to g1. That looks like it might be a good move. And he brings his knight in. Okay, that is interesting. It kind of walks into this fork here. But how does that work out? So pawn to f6, he can take my knight. I can take his bishop, and after I take his bishop, there are two pieces hanging. The rook is hanging, and his knight is hanging. And I don't see he has any great discoveries, so I think that should be winning some material. So let's see if I'm correct. He takes there. Yeah, so I come out a piece up. So let's see if I can hold on to this. Does he get, what did he get in exchange for that piece? He got a pawn for the piece. Okay. Okay, I could move my king. Could develop my bishop. You know, bishop to h3 looks interesting because I'm actually threatening to take his rook then. Rook takes, queen takes rook, queen takes, bishop takes is queen and bishop for queen and rook. So let's go with that. And there's no immediate threat here. If he lines up his queen over here to queen c2, I can play, if he plays queen c7, I can play c3. And I probably should. So let's defend the a pawn. Okay, so he got around to defending his e pawn. Let's see, if I play f4, which I want to kind of break up the center here, he can actually grab the e pawn. So let's pause to defend the e pawn first. Or should I send the queen back first? So say if I go bishop here, let's just double on the d file and see how he wants to defend the his d pawn. I still have bishop to f1 to hit his queen at some point. He has rook to a3, trying to target my a2 square. Rook to a6, trying to target a2. Okay, so he just defended there. And also covers some squares where my queen might come in. Okay, let's see if I can activate this bishop somehow. Yeah, the queen goes there. Yeah, I was thinking b3 and bishop to c4. Putting it on this diagonal might be interesting, but he might be able to play b5. I guess the rook is covering that square. Let's go ahead. Let's not be afraid of ghosts. If I can get some coordination going against the f7 square, that might be useful. And let's see, another idea would be to lift this rook up to d2 and play queen d1, get a battery going. Okay, so he gave up, oh, he didn't give up the pawn. He just went for the battery on the, C file. So maybe he's thinking of sacking the exchange here. But I can bring my queen over. Yep, he did. So let's do something about this pawn here. We just rook back. So he takes, I take, queen takes. And then I'm not in check, and I can bring my queen over to defend. So I don't think he's got anything here, and now he's down a whole rook. But I do have to be careful. Goes back. He's going to play some kind of check there, I guess. So let's block that. So yeah, I have to play defense for a while till this, till I've beaten his pieces back. But with the extra rook, I should win this game. Anyway, he's putting up a good fight after that mistake in the late opening, early middle game. Yeah. So where is he going with the queen now? He's looking at this square. Can bring my queen here. He was also looking at the e-pawn. I guess I didn't want to give that up. It would pin the rook, which would be a little bit awkward. Little bit awkward. Let's just defend that, and then bring my queen over to finally chase his queen out of here. Okay, let's see. Queen takes, pawn takes, queen takes rook, pawn takes queen, rook takes queen, king takes rook, and I'm still a rook up. Yep. So here we go. And don't leave the rook undefended. What to do here? Put this guy back on the back rank. There were just too many tactics involving that loose rook on that loose rook on E or D3. So queen here. If he takes, he takes, I take. I mean that's adequately defended. So let's see if I've got an idea here. Maybe rook takes on B. Rook takes on b7 and queen to b3, coordinating on f7 once again. Maybe as an idea here. And this rook is guarding the check that his queen has on d3. Let's see what he can come up with here. It goes there immediately. Okay. I think it's about time for him to resign. Anyway, hopefully I could have eventually won that game. I thought there were some interesting points, and so I'm going to upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.